Like myself, I'm just waiting on clearance for the doctor, and I'll be back 100%.
Good. That's great to hear. Well, guys, we're going to dive right into our main event. Top 10 middleweights who genuinely really just don't like each other. Number 5, Michael Bisping, and 8th-ranked Tim Kennedy. DC, I want to start with the count. He hasn't fought in nearly a year. He's coming off a detached retina. How can he turn that negative into a positive?
Well, first off, I want to say it's really good to see Michael Bisping back. It's been way too long since we saw this guy compete. But in order for him to have success in this fight, he needs to use his great boxing and his footwork to keep Tim Kennedy from making this an ugly fight. The better this fight looks to the fans, the better chances he has of being successful tomorrow night.
Tim Kennedy's coming off a lot of momentum, and I think he's just going to do just that. He's going to make this an ugly fight, take him down, get on top, hold position, grind him out, and I think he's trying to make his statement to become top 5.
Speaking of that momentum, Tim Kennedy has won 9 of his last 11, Michael Bisping 6 of his last 8. Well, before the main event tomorrow night, though, there is some official Ultimate Fighter Nations business going down. Of course, the coaches, Patrick Cote and Kyle Noak, will rumble, but a pair of Canadians will etch their names into the history books, joining a list of notables who have become Ultimate Fighter winners. For more on that, we send it to Heidi Andral in Quebec City.
Thank you so much, Karen. Well, since its debut back in 2005, the Ultimate Fighter has finished 24 seasons. That means about 378 fighters who've entered the house in hopes of becoming the Ultimate Fighter. From a business perspective, well, it's kind of acted like an MLB farm team, an opportunity to evaluate talent and create depth. It's also brought in an unmeasurable amount of fans and spawned champions like Matt Serra, Forrest Griffin, and Rashad Evans. And not to mention some title contenders like Nate Diaz, Gray Maynard, and our very own Kenny Florian. It's given us fan favorites like Diego Sanchez and Chris Lieben, and maybe some not-so-fan favorites like Josh Koscheck. No question, it has changed the landscape of the sport. And right here in Quebec City, we are about to see the first Canadian join the ranks of the Ultimate Fighter winners. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Heidi. Now, keep it locked right here on Fox Sports 2, because when we come back, Bisping, Kennedy, Cote, Noak, and the rest of our Fight Night competitors step up to the scale live from Quebec. The UFC weigh-in will be right back.
Theodora?
No. Welcome back to the UFC weigh-in show. It is now time for the fighters to hit the scale. So right now we're going to send it out to John Anik, standing by in Quebec City.
sure came back. Thank you all so much for coming out. How about a warm welcome, our Octagon girls, Vanessa Hansen and Chrissy Blair, our managing director for UFC Canada, Mr. Tom Wright, arguably the best matchmaker on the planet. He is Sean Shelby, and the inimitable Burt Watson. Bringing up the rear. Let's get things going. We begin with the UFC Fight Pass prelims. First fight in the bantamweight division. Mitch Gagnon versus Tim the Psycho Gorman. First fighter to the scale, Tim Gorman.
Tomorrow, the all-new season of The Ultimate Fighter begins as familiar foes take over to coach the next generation of UFC fighters. The Ultimate Fighter Team Edgar versus Team Penn begins tomorrow, right after the fights on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
$135 for Tim Gorman. And his opponent, Mitch Gagnon.
Mitch Gagnon will be welcoming newcomer Tim Gorman to the octagon. He has got all wins by submission right now. He's on a 2-fight win streak. His last victory was a submission over Dustin Kimura. He caught him with a guillotine.
$135 for Mitch Gagnon. All right, our next bout is in the welterweight division. Filthy Rich Walsh versus Chris the Savage Indich.
America's new sports network is the place to turn before every slam, every goal, and every game. With America's pregame, weeknights at 6 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. $
170 for Chris Indich. And his opponent also set to make his UFC debut, Richard Walsh.
After the filming, Australian Richard Walsh actually went on to train in Thailand with Canadian coach Patrick Cote as well as Canadian Elias Theodoro. We'll see if the switch-up makes a difference.
$171 for Filthy Rich Walsh. All right, next up in the middleweight division, Nordine Taleb versus Vic the Spartan Krujic.
Training out of Alliance in San Diego, Vic Gruchik is actually one of the oldest of the castmates, 37 years old. He's a father. He is a thyroid cancer survivor, and he said he's going out there and giving it 200% to show how much he has left in the tank.
136 for Vic Grujic. And his opponent, Nordine Taleb.
Saturday is doubleheader action on FS1 as Mike Trout and the Angels take on reigning AL MVP Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers. Then the Diamondbacks square off against Yasiel Puig and the Dodgers. It all begins at 12:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
185 for Nordine Taleb. Our next prelim in the lightweight division, Mark Bocek versus Mike El Cucuy de la Torre.
Fox UFC Saturday returns with the most exciting network card in UFC history, featuring heavyweight contenders Fabricio Verdum and Travis Brown. Plus, Liz Carmouche taking on Miesha Tate, and Cerrone battles Barboza. It all starts this week at 5 p.m. Eastern with the live prelims on Fox Sports 1. Then turn over to Fox at 8 p.m. for the main card.
$156 for Mike De La Torre. And his opponent set to make his 13th UFC appearance, Mark Bocek.
Mark Bocek actually one of Canada's first jiu-jitsu black belts, also a judo black belt, 7 submission wins. After a year and a half off, he's looking to get back in the octagon.
$156 for Mark Bocek. All right, now we get to the UFC Fight Night prelims on Fox Sports 1. You can watch them here on Sportsnet 360 and TVA Sports. First up in the bantamweight division, George Root versus Dustin the Diamond Kimura.
Dustin Kimura has had 3 fights in the UFC and has yet to see the final bell. Whether he's winning or losing, a finish is almost a given in his fights. And how about this for a fact? Dustin Kimura's favorite submission is, drum roll please, you guys probably guessed it, Kimura. You guys see what I did there? Kimura.
$136 for Dustin Kimura. And his opponent, George Root.
George Root, one of the biggest guys in the 135-pound division, has the longest reach, 5 knockout wins, 3 submission wins. He actually said Kimura's a great opponent. His record is based on beating turds, and he said he's looking to get some respect and make a run for that title shot.
$135 for Mr. Root. All right, our next bout in the light heavyweight heavyweight division, Ryan the Big Deal Jimmo versus Sean the Real OC O'Connell. First fighter to the scale, Sean O'Connell.
Tomorrow, UFC Fight Night returns to FS1 with a full card of action, including a showdown between 5th-ranked middleweight Michael Bisping and 8th-ranked Tim Kennedy. It all begins at 7 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
His opponent, Ryan Jimmo.
Ryan Jimmo is a karate fighter. This guy is a multiple-time world-level medalist. He is a world-class athlete. Doesn't stop there, though. His idols are Bruce Lee, Albert Einstein, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Talk about covering the full spectrum of your idols. Lastly, in real life, Ryan Jimmo is a full-time ninja, because fighting, after all, is just a sport.
205. 205 for Ryan Jimmo. Tough act to follow there. Next up in the women's bantamweight division, Sarah Kaufman versus Leslie the Peacemaker Smith.
Leslie Smith all smiles as she makes her way to the scale. This is her UFC debut. That would make you nervous enough. This young lady took the fight on 8 days' notice.
Smith. And her opponent, the former Strikeforce champion, Sarah Kaufman.
Sarah Kaufman hopes the third time is a charm. She was first to face Shayna Baszler, then Amanda Nunes, now Leslie Smith. Now this is a rematch of an Invicta fight a year ago. Sarah Kaufman got the split decision in that one.
$135 for Sarah Kaufman. Quarterfinal prelim in the welterweight division, Sam Hands of Stone Stout versus KJ News.
Well, this fight was initially to be contested as a lightweight fight, but now it's going to be at welterweight.
Yeah, I guess both guys came together and agreed to actually go up in weight. You don't see this very much in mixed martial arts. It does happen in boxing. It's a first, but it's good to see that those guys came to a decision, and now the weight's contested at welterweight.
Yeah, interesting to me. Sam Stout fought all of his fights at 17 fights at 155 pounds, won a lot at 170.
168 for KJ News.
168 for KJ Noons. That man has never been in a boring fight, gentlemen.
But 2 pounds underweight, you know, so you obviously see that those guys were going down to 55.
But maybe knew they just weren't going to get there.
Yeah.
Sam Stout, very technical striker, great cardio, 9 wins by knockout. He has 10 years of MMA experience, and he also has some pro kickboxing experience. This right here is going to be my pick for fight of the night.
You're probably seeing the 2 happiest guys at the weigh-ins right now, Sam Stout and KJ Noons. Nobody seems to be smiling as bright as these 2.
You might be right.
They probably had a steak together last night.
169. 169 for Sam Stout.
Hey, listen to this. I got a gem about KJ Noons. He's a great fighter. We know veterans that have been in the sport for a while. KJ Noons and I were in a movie called Mantervention, the first movie in history to go directly to the Black Friday clearance bin. I did get an IMBD out of that, though.
All right, now we get to the main call.
Hello once again, Karen Bryant, Daniel Cormier, and Anthony Pettis here in Los Angeles as we reset for the main card. It kicks off with the featherweights, 6th-ranked Dustin Poirier and Akira Corassani. The Swede Corassani is first to the scale.
And his opponent, Louisiana's finest, Dustin Poirier.
Sometimes you see a guy, when you watch him, you smile. I smile when I watch Dustin Poirier for a bunch of reasons. We went to the same high school. We're from the same hometown. And I've seen this kid grow in his mixed martial arts career. Dustin is a smart guy. He struggled against the Korean Zombie, living in Lafayette, Louisiana, made the change to the American top team in South Florida, and he's had nothing but success since. This is Dustin's opportunity to put himself right back in the title picture. He's been on fire, man. I'm always so happy to watch the Diamond fight, and I'm glad to see him in such great shape, because after the fight, he gets round.
145 for Dustin Poirier.
So you guys remember Akira Corassani, the Ultimate Fighter, right?
Oh, there we go. Hey, this is the second way in a row where Dustin Poirier has been in this type of situation.
Well, and that's what I was going to say about Corassani on the Ultimate Fighter is he didn't make a lot of friends when he was on that show.
No, he's a mean guy. Yeah, but last time Dustin Poirier made his opponent pay for missing weight.
That's
and
right.
Hey,
Now we get to
Corassani might have. That's my guy. I got to be careful here.
Poking the hornet's nest right there.
Versus Olivier Aubin-Mercier.
Aubin-Mercier is actually being called the next GSP. He's undefeated, 25 years old. All his wins coming by submission, rear naked choke in the first round. And this kid got some skills. Judo black belt, jiu-jitsu brown belt. He actually said that these two, they trained together before. They know what to expect. They know what they have to do to win. This should be an interesting fight.
On the show, he kind of struck me as a little bit more one of the soft-spoken guys. Not a big mouth, but goes right to work inside the octagon. Actions
speak louder than words.
169. 169 for Olivier Aubin-Mercier. And his opponent, Chad Laprise.
Chad Laprise will face his teammate, his TriStar teammate, Olivier Aubin-Mercier. In this one, he said he stayed in Ontario to train for this camp. He doesn't believe Olivier is going to change anything up, and he will return to TriStar when this fight's over.
170 for Chad Laprise.
Chad Laprise is the guy that broke his opponent's jaw on the Ultimate Fighter. He has a big right hand. Ben Mercier needs to be very aware of it. He is his teammate, so he will be a little more cognizant of it than most guys that step into the cage with him for the first time.
Well, moving along now to the Ultimate Fighter Nations middleweight final. Sheldon Westcott versus Elias the Spartan Theodoro.
Elias Theodoro says that he has the best hair in MMA. He says he's the cardio king. One of the languages he speaks is sarcasm. He is a model. This guy has been on the cover of 6 romance novels. Guys, I am describing a finalist on The Ultimate Fighter. I am not the host of some reality TV show.
Kenny Florian will give him a run for the money on the hair, though, I tell you that.
Let me tell you something. He's good looking.
I won't disagree.
185 for Elias Theodoro. And his opponent, also representing Team Canada, Sheldon Westcott.
Sheldon Westcott said that the hardest part of the show was actually keeping it a secret until now. He said friends got creative. One guy even said he was having an engagement party this week, invited him to see if he would come. Well, he said that guy didn't even have a girlfriend. He kept it secret.
$184 for Sheldon Westcott. All right, now we get to the co-main event in the welterweight division. Patrick the Predator Cote versus Kyle Noak.
Kyle Noak said that the pressure of coaching this season was actually a privilege. It made him train harder for this fight. He said speed will be important against Cote, and he just wants a rematch of that coach's challenge of the axe throwing. He said his performance was embarrassing.
Kyle Noak is a tough guy. I'm pretty sure he wants to
171
avenge the guys from his team. You know, Team Australia coach wants to end the season on the right note by winning against Patrick Cote.
Absolutely.
Patrick Cote actually has the hometown advantage. A jiu-jitsu brown belt, 8 wins by KO. Team Canada, tough coach. He's actually the first guy to take Anderson Silva into the 3rd round, so he's been in there with some of the best in the biz. And he's one of those since dropping to welterweight. 1-punch KO power and a chin made of stone.
Apparently, Kyle Noak used to also do security for Steve Irwin. Remember
Really?
down in Australia, yes, and you know the whole... Yeah. And yes, used to go hunting with him. He's got quite a background.
Is Cote a model too?
Could be.
170 for the former #1 contender.
Now, that's not objectifying, is it, DC? We're allowed to say that.
Being a model is a great thing. Hey, I'm standing next to one here. Anthony Pettis is a model too. They're everywhere in MMA now.
You don't got to get punched in the face to get paid. Why not?
All right, time now to take a closer look at the 2 men involved in tomorrow night's 5-round middleweight main event.
It's been a tough year. I detached the retina, had the surgery, there was complications on top of that as well. So pretty much everything that can go wrong with an eye went wrong with my eye, and yeah, it was tough, but I'm a fighter, and in some ways this was the hardest fight of my life. You know, I'm coming back bigger, better, stronger than ever.
Unbelievable action! That's all!
I'm gonna beat Michael Bisping because he doesn't want to go toe-to-toe with me. I know he's gonna be running for me. I know he's gonna be chicken, but I'm gonna be dynamic. I'm gonna be dangerous. I'm gonna be explosive. I'm gonna be violent. I don't see him surviving 25 minutes.
This fight, for me, is about one thing, showing the world that I still am one of the best middleweights in the world, and I want my title shot.
He likes to be a bully in the cage. You know, he likes to go out there, be a jerk, but do that to me, I'm just gonna knock you out. Like, I'm not a guy that you can bully in the cage. You have to actually fight me, and I think I'm one of the best fighters in the world, and I want to demonstrate that.
Wow! I'm not gonna take part in all this stupid banter, this back and forth. I'm gonna be in here, training, doing what I do best, and on April 16th, I'm gonna turn up and beat the living out of him.
First fighter to the scale, he is still undefeated in the UFC, Tim Kennedy.
Tim Kennedy's a ranger in the qualified sports and sniper. He's a black belt in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, black belt in modern Army combative. He's trained with some of the best in the biz, from his early days with John Hackleman to his current camp with Greg Jackson. He actually said, I don't think Bisping can hit hard enough for me. I don't think he has enough power. I'm a better grappler, a better wrestler. I'm going to exploit him there. And the thing is, when you're scared about getting taken down, it's easier to hit. I'm looking to put my hands on him.
Tim Kennedy, to me, is the closest to Captain America. He even has a motorcycle that Captain America rides. Same one.
186 for Tim Kennedy. And his opponent tomorrow night makes his 20th UFC appearance, Michael the Count Bisping.
We all know that Michael Bisping can fight. We know that he can talk. It's kind of like the perfect storm, you know? That's why Michael has coached the Ultimate Fighter twice. I've worked with him. I like Michael Bisping's personality. You know, it's no holds barred. He doesn't hold things back. He doesn't pull punches. I'm very excited to see him back in the UFC.
186.
186 for Michael Bisping. And those are your headliners, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow night, 5 rounds if needed. Michael Bisping and Tim Kennedy.
Mike, get over there and stare him down. I can't wait to see this stare down.
Let's go. Let's go.
Get him, Bisping.
Good fight.
Bisping's all talking down to him, and look at Kennedy. Kennedy's like, I've dealt with so much tougher in life. Let's do this, buddy. I can't wait for this fight. You're not getting intimidated, an Army sniper, ranger.
Too much.
Tim has every badge on his uniform.
Thank you all so much. We'll see you for the fights tomorrow night. But
All right. Well, that was a great stare down. If you weren't fired up, you should be now. We want to thank you, John Anik, and we want to welcome all of you watching at home back inside our Fox Sports studio. Guys, the fights are set, but we want to refocus on the main event here. Now, DC, the build-up to this one has been great. A lot of smack talk. Tim Kennedy has made videos about Michael Bisping. They've gone back and forth. Is there any way this fight can actually live up to the hype?
Yes, it can. But the thing about it is, if the fight's living up to the hype, it means that Michael Bisping is able to control and dictate the way the fight is taking place. If Tim Kennedy is able to control the pace of this fight, it's going to be kind of ugly and won't be very nice for the fans to watch.
Yeah, don't sleep on Kennedy. I mean, he's got a great coach in Greg Jackson. They have great game plans all the time, so he knows he's going to get in there, make it ugly, and make it his fight.
What's interesting about this, if you ask Michael, is that Tim, has fired all these shots. They've never actually even met before.
No, it's crazy.
Tim just does not like Michael. Well, here's a look at the schedule for tomorrow. The UFC Fight Pass prelims start at 3:15 Eastern exclusively on UFCFightPass.com. Then at 4 p.m. Eastern, tune in to Fox Sports 1 for the UFC pre-fight show, followed by the UFC Fight Night prelims at 5 and the main card at 7. Then after the main event wraps, keep it locked on Fox Sports 1 for the debut of the Ultimate Fighter 19, Team Penn versus Team Edgar at 10 p.m. Eastern. Now, stick around because we are diving even deeper into our main event. It's been a while since we've seen Bisping in the octagon, but don't fret. We'll refresh your memory and show you why he's ranked number 5 in the world. That we'll hopefully hear from him as well. Stay with us.